The information discussed on Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin' money. Talkin' money. More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Howdy. How you doing?
Morning. Happy Saturday.
Who's so happy?
Spring day. Spring day for spring chicken.
For spring chicken? I had to sleep through a rager at my house last night. Who's happy? I'm going to start sleeping here in the studio instead.
14-year-olds going wild.
Yeah, that's pretty close to it. How are you doing? Back in the saddle after been traveling a little bit, so we'll get into that. Oh, God, I got so much stuff in front of us today, and even a way to freeze dry your pet. I mean, that's how obscure it goes from the advantages of being in the multi-million-dollar houses to freeze drying your pet. We're going to get all the way in between there and have a guest, too, in the second hour. The author of the book, Now You Have a Goal. You Have a Goal, Now What? He's even given me some cheat sheets to talk with. That's good. We'll do all that and then some there. But we start every show the same way, with a complete and utter risk. Advised by CBS lawyers to don't do it. It isn't worth the risk. But we do it anyway because he's Chris Verlaut and the world needs to know what is in his brain. So we turn on the microphone, and what's happening there, big guy?
Not much.
And first off, how was the donut? I made that
Excellent.
for you. I made that for you myself across the street.
You did.
You're welcome.
Across the street.
So what's happening?
Well, everyone knows that David Stern was in Oakland last night, and people were kind of put off when he said, like, hey, Sacramento bid, it wasn't up to par. It needs to raise up if they want a chance. And people in Sacramento, I would say about half are like, oh my God, we're done. We're not keeping this team. How could this have happened? Well, and then people are saying like, oh, this is just the NBA just trying to say that, oh, we gave Sacramento a chance, but that's not going to happen. If they really wanted to do that, David Stern would have said nothing last night.
Right.
And when it came time for the Board of Governors, they would have said, hey, Sacramento.
Too late.
Sorry, your bid just wasn't high enough. The NBA throughout this whole process has kind of said, like, if you could kind of see it. They didn't come out and see it, but when you saw Kevin Johnson come out and say, like, hey, we're bringing the WNBA back, you kind of see that was like the NBA kind of saying, hey, if you do this, this is going to help. And then David Stern last night is like, they're going to have to bring the price up. And then right after that, he says, think they will. Think by the time we get to the Board of Governors, this really won't be a problem. Mastrov, the one that's trying to buy the team with Ron Burkle, he talked with them. They said he talked about for 10 minutes. I think everything's going to be pretty good coming up.
We didn't know what the Seattle offer was. You got to start somewhere, right?
They still don't.
Yeah.
The NBA knows what it is.
Yeah.
And then, like, if I were to say to you, hey, how much for my car? Someone already offered me something.
Right.
How much do you want for my car?
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you this.
A little more.
Maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Don't know who throws their best offer on the table to begin with. Come on now.
Sounds like a real estate transaction to me.
Right. It is.
And this has been, what, 7 weeks, 8 weeks to make this $1 billion investment. So it's going to take some time a little bit. Don't worry. I think we're in pretty good shape still.
I was in Seattle for about 14 hours. What day was that? I am losing track of days. I guess it was Wednesday. I flew in Saturday night about 11 o'clock. Flew out about Wednesday about 3 o'clock. So I was there about 14 hours. And the local press coverage up there, they cover Sacramento a lot. I mean, all of the different things that are going on here in Johnson's meetings and stuff they had on the air there. And everybody you ran into when you said, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Sacramento area. Oh, man, we don't really want to take your team. We just want our own. And that was pretty much the consensus. We don't really want to take your team. We just want our own team back. So they were pretty nice about it. I didn't take it personally either way. So whatever happens will happen. And Seattle was certainly pretty. For those of you who Well, I'll get into that a little bit here more. Before I start, though, I do want to say a happy 17th birthday to my eldest firstborn daughter, Kelly Elizabeth. Turned 17 today, and she is celebrating right now like all 17-year-olds do. Not with a pony keg. She is taking the SAT.
Nice.
And now that I watch a real student study and want to go to a real college, I realize I was destined to go nowhere quick. Because what these kids are who are serious about, what these kids have to go through right now with these college pre-planning and instructors and all these things, and are you developing a habit of of extracurricular activities and blah 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 blah. Hell, I could barely get to class on time, and I sure wasn't getting straight A's.
And I'm pretty sure your extracurricular activities were probably not up to snuff.
I don't think I have those on any of my resumes. Although I was fairly certain. So here's one of the advantages. Here's one of the advantages of working when you're young. Like I started working as a paper route before I could, on my bike. But I mean, before, actually getting a real job, I was fortunate enough to have, different employment even before I turned 18, probably before you were supposed to even be working. But I realized, real early on, and I'm sure a lot of you did too, that I probably wasn't cut out to work for some jerkweed who was simply hit my boss because he had been there longer. And a lot of the places I worked growing up, you weren't in the position you were in because of your skill, or you're in the position because hell, you outlived the last guy that died in the job position. And for me, that was like a real eye opener for me. I just couldn't see somebody telling me, you will show up at this time and we will pay you this number of dollars per hour, and then we'll tell you when you can get the next dollar per hour raise, and then we'll tell you if we want this guy goes up to the position, you can have his position. That wasn't going to work for me. It just wasn't. I mean, it wasn't going to work for me.
You weren't feeling it, huh?
No, I wasn't feeling it, and it wasn't necessarily about the income part of it. It was about the direction and who's going to determine my success. You because I happen to kiss your rear long enough, or me because I can outwork you. I knew I wasn't going to outsmart anybody, but I knew I could outwork a few people, and that really has been, kind of the key to the success I've had is that just kind of, constantly pushing the ball going forward. And so and I think that's why a lot of people, self-employed people, are the same way as I am. I just can't stand the thought of someone telling me how much you'll make. Of course,
you're 5 minutes late.
Yeah, and the downside to that is that by having not someone tell me how much I'll make, there's no limit to how little I can make. And I've certainly been on that end of the spectrum many a time. So, anywho.
That's what makes it all worth it, Jeff.
Makes it all. Anyway, I got off the topic. So happy birthday, Kelly. I mean, really, she has been that girl was born like 35 years old. She's always been just a model kid, and so I love you very much and happy birthday. And she's not hearing this anyway because she's probably studying and going, "Oh my God, I don't know the answer to this." It would be all the questions on the test for me. So we got a few phone lines open. We're going to give a few things away today. We got some ski passes up at Sierra Tahoe. We're March 9th, so effectively, when do you think the season ends up there this year if we don't get some storms? Well, you said yesterday was pretty hot.
Yesterday was incredible.
Really?
So all you sitting down here in the blue skies thinking there's no weather, let me just tell you, it was phenomenal start. Skies opened up, and at about 1 o'clock, it started dumping. We got, I don't know how much per hour, but it was crazy. And it was really good up there. So, and I understand a few people headed up last night, and it took quite a long time to get up with chain controls and everything else. So if you're up there today,
you're lucky.
You're having a great time. And if you want to go tomorrow, answer some of these questions, and we'll have some tickets. Sierra Tahoe.
Yep. And I actually have the ability today, if you win some stuff today and you want to pick up some tickets today from me, I actually will be in my Roseville office today doing some work. I could actually meet with you and give you some passes today if you want to go tomorrow. So that's how on the spot we are, if you want to do it. If not, we'll mail them to you. It's no big deal. I did see, there's just so much stuff going on, again, with our government this week and other things. But I noticed a couple things. We didn't come to a complete and utter collapse this week. I was sure the world was going to stop because we were going to quit spending 1.5% of our federal deficit, our federal government expenditures last week, but we didn't come to a crash. Although I did see that this reminds me of kind of a petulant kid who is like stomping his feet and didn't get his way or their way, and so now they're going to make the rest of us pay because They came up with a plan on their own, and the plan came into action, and now they're going to try to make the rest of us penalized for it. And this is the one that just irritates me because this is totally unnecessary. The White House has suspended tours of the White House, which predominantly affects a whole bunch of school kids who have been saving their money and working their rears off for probably a year. If you've ever, I don't know if your kids, when my child did the D.C. trip, I think was at the end of 9th grade, maybe it was a big one time that a bunch of groups go. But anyway, there's kids throughout the country that plan all year long to go on this Washington, D.C. trip to visit the White House and do other things. And the White House was closed because they were anticipating the need of saving some budget money. Now, this is a total smack in the face to all of us. Because first off, what they want to do is they want to make you and I, the taxpayer, pay the penalty for their indecisions and their inability to get anything done back in Washington. So rather than cutting the billions of dollars of wasted spending that goes on every single year, they decided they were going to save $74,000 in weekly overtime costs. So they're going to close the White House down, and they're going to embarrass and irritate you, and particularly your kids who've traveled all the way back there. So $74,000 in overtime is what we're going to save by closing the White House. So your kids can't come back there for tours.
That's ridiculous.
Because we want to show you that you haven't put enough pressure on the government to get over the sequester, their own program, by the way. And I think this is outrageous. And I don't have
ridiculous.
I don't have a child who's going back there, and maybe you don't either. But there are a bunch of them, and I feel real bad, and that is ridiculous, and we shouldn't put up with that. Period. I don't get that. I don't know why we put up with half the stuff we do, or 3/4 of the stuff we do. And I did see this week also with this one, and I don't know if you caught this, but the TSA is going to start allowing small knives and things.
More ridiculous.
Well, and that's the first. So my initial reaction was they're going to let you take some sporting equipment, some golf clubs, and souvenir baseball bats and some sort of a knives and little things. Of course, you can't bring your shampoo, and you can't.
Because that's really dangerous.
And you can't bring your balm, but you can bring your. So I heard that, and I thought, okay, why are we doing that? And I didn't get it. Then I caught an interview with the guy who was the original. I think he was the first head of the TSA. So right after 9/11, they hired this guy, and I don't recall his name. If you know it, that's fine. But he was hired to run the TSA right after 9/11 to set up all these programs, and now he's retired, and he wrote a book. And they had him on heard him on the radio the other day, and they were asking the same thing. Why are we doing this? Why are we allowing the TSA to do this? Because certainly the I was going to say the waitresses, the stewardesses, and their organization are not thrilled about it. The pilots probably don't care because they're behind the big old locked door, so you're not going to get through with a little pocket knife. You're not going to get through the door to them. But the gentleman was saying, which I didn't understand until then, this is not about safety. This is about money. He said and he thinks this is only step one, and about 3 or 4 more steps they're going to take to start allowing more things to go on the plane. Because he said, hey, look at this little small pocket knife that folds open like this. Basically, your little Swiss Army knife. This isn't bringing down a plane. This cannot bring down a plane. Your golf club cannot bring down a plane. We want to spend our money. Our budget, first of all, the TSA, in his opinion, was overinflated. Too many people, too much repetition of scanning and rescanning bags and doing those kind of things too. So he said this is move number one in an effort to save some money. And he said it probably doesn't really change any risk. Now, if you're the stewardess that gets stabbed by the little pocket knife, that isn't going to be good. But it isn't going to bring down the airplane, according to him. So don't be surprised if you see more moves like this, more things opening up. I did see that now they're letting kids leave some of their stuff on, and and if you're over 75, you can leave your shoes on. And so they're going to change some of these things. You're going to see more of it, and it is about finances. It is not about safety. They've concluded that these are the things that we're doing. We don't even need to do this stuff. We're wasting money doing this, and it isn't going to change the safety of our program. We'd rather have the guy not worry about the knife and concentrate more on the things that we identify as true hazards, something that can bring a plane down. So I look at it a little differently now than I did when I first saw it. I thought, okay, what's the difference? Why are we allowing that knife? What are you smirking at? You find something?
I just, I'm looking at what's online here, and it talks about, the airline workers are, backlashing against it. The travelers are confused. What can I bring? What can't I bring? They're talking about, the overhead bins are already loaded up with mouthwash and shampoos. And, I mean, you always look at these things and go, what is really working and why? And I think there's so much convolution between, and then they're talking about, well, our bins are overloaded with these pocket knives. I mean,
I don't know, and I didn't even know you couldn't bring your golf clubs on the because I don't travel in golf. So, but don't you check your golf clubs anyway, or maybe you don't want your best Big Bertha driver in the under thing. Is that what happens to you, Chris? There you get to get your driver on.
Oh yeah, I always get stopped. My driver, my javelin.
I know. If you can't bring your javelin with you, I actually sleep with my javelin. It's very comfortable. It's comforting to me to have a javelin and a pole vault with me.
But a lot of those safety measures, when you actually talk to people about that, they say it's not really safety. It's more about travelers feeling safe because, hey, if they're going after me for all of this, and we're not going to have any problems going on the plane. But
yeah, and it's like when my daughter found the little snow globe at Disneyland or wherever we were somewhere. She wanted the snow globe, and I had to turn it in. And that just I was so mad. And you know damn well the guy puts a snow globe in the backpack there, and he's got them on Craigslist next to a box of 25 snow globes for $50. You can have them, them all.
Talks about here TSA bins are overflowing with all this stuff. They say in L.A. screeners fill boxes with about 1,400 pocket knives per month.
Wow.
Other banned items that are high on the list are brass knuckles, drill bits. When was the last time you brought a drill bit on the airplane?
I always carry a full Mr. Tool set with me at all times. Just a router, a bandsaw, stuff. Some woodworking might break out on the plane I might need to do. I don't know.
Oh my gosh!
So, and I always like to have my brass knuckles because I always like to get it in a fisticuff just in case things don't go. If I don't get the A34 ticket, I'm going to knock you out. Go ahead.
We had a snow globe thing too, Dylan. We're in Colorado. We're at Breckenridge. Dylan at the Marriott makes this snow globe, handmade, puts it all together, and they take it. And I mean, he was distraught. Yeah, and we told him we mailed it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And every day he's waiting for it to come in the mail, and it never showed up.
It's been 3 years, Daddy. I got my snow globe. And the guy told me we could drill the water out if you want. I go, then it's not a snow globe, a-hole. It is a piece of plastic with fluffy stuff bouncing around
that I just paid $20 for.
Yeah,
right?
We could drill the water out if you want. I go, here, give it to your kid. So I don't get the whole thing, but we do got to take a break. Let's take a. So did you catch the Rand Paul speech this week? I haven't seen a true filibuster in a long, long time. So Mr. Paul was concerned that we were going to start droning U.S. citizens with Hellfire missiles in the country, which would probably not be a good thing. So he got up and spoke for, gosh, I want to say 10 or 11 hours. It was pretty impressive. But he's not the biggest. Who holds the record?
Low. Who holds the record? That's a great question.
Okay,
let me just tell you. In 1957, this senator of South Carolina, right? Yep. He spoke for 24 hours, 18 minutes against the Civil Rights Act.
So he didn't want there to be a Civil Rights Act? 1957. So Chris was alive then, but I wasn't quite yet there.
And this gentleman was a Democrat who later switched parties.
Okay.
Set the filibuster record with, again, 24 hours, 18 minutes. Who was that?
Dude, I couldn't even stand up for 24 hours.
That's a long time.
I know. After 2 hours of this radio show, I'm ready to pass out.
24 hours.
Thankfully, the donut. So 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at the Metro PCS text line, 441140. This is Talkin' Money. Who, in 1957, spoke for how long?
24 hours, 18 minutes against the Civil Rights Act.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. This is Talkin' Money. We're going to be
right back, Jack.
Talkin' Money!
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing?
Just breaking stuff. It's okay.
My dad's a TV repairman. He's got a killer set of tools.
I can fix this HVAC unit.
Is there such thing as a TV repairman anymore? Do you repair TVs or you just trash them and get a new one? I don't know. I've never. I guess you can. Yeah, I guess they offer you all that warranty stuff there when you're buying one. But I've never actually. I buy the warranties. I've never actually taken one in.
I think it's cheaper just to buy a new one.
I think I think you're right. I'm not going to pay for the extended warranty anymore. By the time it's extended, the technology's out of business.
There you go. Be tough.
Be tough.
Take a stand.
Did we get a winner to our quiz question there? Ryan got it right. Well, we can take one off the text there if you want to also, Chris. And you got that one also. Chris is on top of it, man.
That guy just gets it done.
You give that guy a donut, he will not stop for at least 15 minutes straight. He'll just go. So the question was, I was referring to filibustering, talking ad nauseum at length and saying nothing. Basically, a longer version of this show. But,
a lot longer.
A lot longer. And the 1957 speech was
24 hours, 18 minutes against the Civil Acts right.
Now, why couldn't you go 24 hours even? Why couldn't you make 25 if you'd already been there? What's the 18-minute? He just dropped?
I'm just guessing he had a lot to say.
Maybe he just hit the ground after 24. So who is he?
He is Strom Thurmond.
Strom Thurmond, Democrat.
Yes.
From, where was he from? You say which?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. So he was against the Civil Rights Act, huh?
Democrat at the time.
Still playing out the South there. So there,
right.
We got that right. We'll give away some Sierra at Tahoe ski passes.
Get up there while it's good.
Yep, we're going to try to get a lot of those out today because our roundtable stuff hasn't come in yet. And we're also, I think we got a deal coming up with the River Cats again when baseball season starts cranking up. So we'll do that in the next few shows. But today we will get you up skiing because there is some snow. And John's right. If you're sitting in the valley, you're thinking, dude, this is like nothing going on here. And you look up in the mountains and it's dumping. So.
I heard it was snowing this morning too. So
okay.
I don't know.
Hey, did we talk about this? I know we talked about the free cell phones, the Obama phone.
Yes, okay. Absolutely.
Not to be outdone, the great state of California is roughly 4.6 million California households, including 200,000 from Sacramento, could be eligible for the Lifeline program, based on estimates from Assurance. Those who qualify will get basic cell phones plus 250 text messages per month. And this is the part that got me. So they've given away a bunch of these already. You have to be earn less than $15,000 per year. After receiving your phone, keyword there, after.
Right. That's when you. I got to hear this.
After receiving your phone, you'll get an application from the state of California, and please return it in 45 days and prove that you should have gotten the phone in the first place.
Dumb. I don't even know what to say.
That is how, if eligible, they can continue for free service. The phone has been delivered already.
Why? I mean, we're gonna hold on. They're going to cut $74,000 so the kids can't go and learn something about our government and take a tour of the White House. And yet we're going to give phones away in droves and then ask them to prove that they meet the requirements.
You are a greedy bastard.
Unbelievable. I don't even know what to say.
It would be far too much to ask to say, bring your documents with you and we'll hand you the phone. Because everywhere I go, I get everything, and they say, just get back to us and let us know if that's going to qualify for you. Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, I don't.
So, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't get a phone.
Maybe I should go get a phone.
Well, actually, if rates go up, you might need one. So, I'm not saying they shouldn't get a phone. I'm just saying come with your documentation,
absolutely,
please.
I think it's a great.
It isn't that hard.
It's a good program. I'm sure it helps a lot of people.
Here's my W-2. I made $12,000 last year. Cool. Here's your phone, dude.
Right.
Or here's my unemployment. I'm not currently working and I need a phone. Fine. Here's your phone. Not show up in your Porsche, get your phone, and say, I'll get back with you.
I'm pretty sure people are taking advantage of that program.
I would think so. But anyway, what do I know?
And I'm sure they track it very well.
What do I know? I want to be in the free phone delivery business because I think the people who give the phones out get paid.
I'm sure they get a free phone too.
They get their money.
Well, yeah, Jimmy down there said he wants one, so I'm going to go deliver that.
Jimmy.
Here you go, Bob.
Jimmy, do not trust Jimmy. Jimmy's down. Jimmy's got new shoes. So we had a interesting week this week. 14,397. That is your number as of Friday's closing on the Dow Jones. 14,397, which is going to lead us into our quiz question before the end of the hour there. But these were your heavy hitters in the Dow. These are the people that were carrying the weight. IBM. I don't know if this is. Let me see here. What is this? So the point contribution to the Dow Jones rise. So IBM, Caterpillar, 3M, Chevron, and United Technologies, American Express, Home Depot, Boeing, McDonald's, and Walt Disney. Coke, Travelers, J.P. Morgan Chase, Procter & Gamble, DuPont, Johnson & Johnson, Walmart, Exxon, Verizon, Merck, and Kraft, GE, Pfizer, AT&T, Microsoft, Intel, Bank of America, Alcoa, Citigroup, and Cisco. All of those up. The only the ones that kept it from going even higher was Hewlett-Packard was off, United Health Group was off, and General Motors was off. Government Motors was not pulling their weight. Everybody else was rocking. And you look at those companies, those are not your fly-by-nighters. Those are your big companies that are the basis of our economy. Up 14,397, the highest point in a long time.
It's funny, you look at the market news, and when was the last time you saw the Dow up, the NASDAQ, S&P, gold, oil? I mean, if you looked at the news or any report after yesterday, it's like everything's great. Housing's up and unemployment's down. It's crazy.
I make a prediction to you, and history will back me up on it.
Here we go.
I make a prediction to you that this is the week that we will see enormous numbers of new buyers coming into the market, buying at the very high point, the same people which will be selling the next time the Dow dips to this lowest point in the next few weeks.
Time to get in.
Months. Yeah, time to get. The party is already over, and history will tell you investors buy high and sell low, a key to successfully wiping out your portfolio. So hopefully you've been hanging in there since whenever, and you're buying a little bit. You buy a little bit when you're high, and when it's high, you buy a little bit when it's low. Many people believe that they will see a fair amount of selling next week, and if you look at why and what triggered the big movement toward the end of this week was unemployment news. And here's the part again that I don't like. First of all, who reports the employment figures? The federal government. They're almost always revised the next month downward, and you don't ever hear that story never makes the front page. It's like on page 6. February.
There was an adjustment.
February employment results were downgraded or whatever, but I still think that jobs are being added. But the number is askew because what happens is that the people who quit looking are taken out of the equation. So if you had 200,000 jobs added and 200,000 people said, forget it, I'm not going to even look anymore, they're not counted anymore as quote-unquote unemployed under that figure. So you get a double whammy. You got people that did get jobs, and you got people who quit looking that come off the roll. So you get a skewed number of people, of a percentage. So you look at what's called probably a more accurate figure is the employment. What do they call it? Utilization. That's not it. I got to think about it for a minute. But they look at the entire population of people who can work, the whole world of people who either aren't looking, or stopped looking, or are working less than they really would like to. It's like they call it the utilization rate. I have to look that one up again. I'm having a brain fade here this morning. But you look at that number is closer to like 12%. So that's still, and this number was like 7.7.
Right.
So I'm encouraged because there's jobs are coming on, but it's still, that, and I think that's what's holding back most of the economists from saying that we think we're really out of the recession. These guys are making money, okay? IBM and Caterpillar and 3M and Chevron, United Technologies, Home Depot, they're making money, and that's good, and they got a lot of reserves. But people in the know are saying, but they're not hiring anybody. I mean, they're making money, and they're doing with their existing employees. They're more efficient, which is good. They got a boatload of cash. A lot of them have a boatload of cash, but they're not hiring, and they're not growing anything, and they're not adding people yet. So until that starts to happen, most people will say our recession is not over. But it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you have money in your 401k or your IRA or whatever you're doing in investments, and you look at your statement this month, better than last month, hell of a lot better than last year. So if you feel better about yourself and about your ability to get ahead and retire or whatever you want to do, that boosts your confidence. You maybe will start to spend a little bit more money, and it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's good. That's good. If it's real.
If it's real. And then how long does it last? And then also remember, not to be Debbie Downer here, but the state of California also, when we hear all these numbers advertised, they're nationwide. And sometimes at home, they may be a little different.
Yeah, California is not quite keeping up with the rest of the country just this last quarter. We were leading the country for a while, but
right.
we're still lagging a little bit too. And I got some interesting numbers about Californians in real estate. I got a whole real estate section we'll do after the break, as well as our guest. And I got to get back to our last. Maybe do we have to take one more break, Chris? Yeah, we do. Let's do that. Let's come back. Let's finish up our the last of our 12 debt myths that we were talking about last week. I think we got to number 8, and we'll cover those myths as well. And we were on the topic of the stock market. We were on the topic of growth. So, what is your quiz question? It goes somewhere in there.
Yes, we're regarding the Dow.
Okay.
4 years ago today. This is not Abraham Lincoln. This is not George Washington. This is John Fodorowsky.
4-7.
That's right.
So 4 years. So
4 years ago today,
March 9th, 2009. Okay.
What was significant in the market that has a relationship to the significance of where the stock market ended?
Okay, so March 9th, 2009 was like a signal for what, or was it a significant day?
It was a significant day in terms of where the stock market was, where the Dow Jones was registering.
So what's significant about March 9th, 2009? 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us, 44-1140.
A hint is we're at the high.
Come on now. Make them give the number then. How you doing? 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. You want to go skiing at Sierra Tahoe? I'll even meet you and give you some passes today if you want to go tomorrow. And the snow is, according to our on-site forecaster here, very good.
Very good.
Very good. So if you know the answer to that, give us a call. If you don't, your finger in your nose, and we'll be right back. Jack?
And we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Yeah. That's my name, Richard. Don't wear it out. We got a few minutes before the top of the hour. We'll come back. We're going to do a boatload of stuff on some real estate. We'll get into our debt myths. Well, we can do a little bit of that now, a little bit later. All kinds of real estate stuff. Good news. Maybe we should put Fannie and Freddie together. Who's buying our houses here locally? Lots of little stuff we can talk about. And take your calls and questions. Got a couple phone lines open if you want to jump in today. 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. You can text us if you want. 44-1140. And you can come up with your own topic if you want. You don't have to follow us. We'll follow along with you if you want to go that route. We did have a question, which was, so March 9th, 4 years ago from today exactly, was significant in the financial world for what?
Yeah, we might have made it a little easy, but...
You.
Everybody's moving a little slow Saturday morning. So March 9th, 2009, the Dow Industrial Average was at 6,547. 6,547.
So was that the bottom?
That was the bottom.
Okay.
Now, interesting enough, October 9th of 2007, we were at 14,164. So October 2007,
okay,
14,164.
And then March 9th, 2009.
We dropped 6,000.
Pretty quick drop.
Pretty quick drop.
Yeah.
Very quick. And but the interesting part is from that lowest point of 65.47 to March 5th, when we hit 14,253, we're at 1,004 trading days.
Okay, so
a little less than 3 years.
Okay,
we go
4 years, right?
4 years.
Oh no, yeah,
34.
And it's funny when it seems like it's been going on forever.
Right.
And people will think it's been a whole decade that this has been going on, but in 4 years is a long time.
Well,
and we're not out of the woods, but we're just talking about the Dow now.
But if we compare, so we're talking 1,004 trading days, and everybody's like Jeff's saying, a long time. Well, the longest was the Great Depression. You know how many trading days that was?
So we are 1,004 now.
1,004 days now.
So I will say 5 times that, 5,000 days.
Pretty close. 7,253 trading days. 25 years
for the Dow to recover from the Great Depression. Wow.
Yes. Now that it will stick with you for a while.
Yeah, and so what year is that? The Depression started
1929.
Okay, and it came out in so 50 something.
54.
Okay, and so if you know somebody, and we all do, your grandparents, your parents, or somebody who lived through that 25-year cycle, particularly someone who was around in 29 or 30 or early on, they are a different cat than the rest of us. They look at everything differently. They think about things differently. They look at you weird when you do things. They have a burned-in impression in their brain about finances and about money and how you can get stung and how you should not put yourself in certain positions, and you name it. They have a completely and utterly different outlook on financial life than almost anybody since. And I would say that maybe that since we started doing the high school stuff, teaching around the high school, that maybe we have a generation of kids now who lost their house. The parents lost their house. Someone in their family lost their house. Their best friend lost their house. Somebody very close to them went through something traumatic, financially traumatic like that. Not 54 years of Dow recovering, but traumatic enough that and you'll see articles about it, that the 20-somethings now, the teens and 20-somethings now, in many parts are coming with a very similar financial caution. Not my family couldn't eat and we had to go out and grow grain. I mean, but a good lesson, a very good lesson about what can happen, about getting in over your head, about buying something you should, just a good financial lesson. I hope it sticks, because if it does, then we've got a group of teens and 20-something-year-olds that if they carry that mentality through, not to the extreme and not being crazy about it, but just it's in the back of their head. I remember when we had to move, or my parents had to move, or my friends had to move. I remember that. If that sticks with them, then it will be worth it, because that won't repeat, hopefully. And you're starting to see now. I see it from the first-time buyers that are coming in, and certainly from the repeat buyers, but the first-time buyers that are coming in now. And I'll tell them, hey, you guys have good credit and good income. I think you could go, as high as $250 in a house. And the first thing they ask me is, what does that mean for payment-wise? Because I know what I'm renting for. So I'd rather back off and be closer to what I'm used to. And man, that is a 180 from 5, 6, 7 years ago, when people would come in and tell us, I am buying this house for $500,000, and you will get me into it.
You will make it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
You will get me into it. And by the way, I don't have any money either.
Because if you don't, Jimmy will.
That's right. Jimmy and Becky and all of your other friends there. So it is it's an interesting turn of events. And if anything positive comes out of it, I hope that's one of them. I hope that our teens and our 20-somethings come out with a little better financial understanding. I think they will. So and I'm seeing it. And so is our economy, by the way. I mean, the reason these people are starting to get jobs and starting to earn some money, and they're not running out and just buying the latest greatest. They are being cautious, and who'd have thunk it? We thought them kids were all stupid. We thought we were all the smart ones. Well, Chris is not a 20-something anymore. Plus, he's got the red and the blue Ferrari in the parking lot. I wish you'd pick one and just stick with it. Yeah, I got to have both in there. So, anyway, that's interesting. These are some. It just happened to catch us at the bottom of an article. So, what was your date? The previous high, October
9th, 2007.
October 9th, 2007. Okay. So they did a quick comparison of life then and now. So the two high points, basically, right? So 7 to 13. So a 6-year gap, basically, for rounding numbers, 5.5 years. So these are some interesting numbers. Facebook users today, 1.06 billion Facebook users today. And 2007, I'll take a guess, December 2007. That would have been early on in the. It's tough, huh?
That's a hard one.
58 million users in 2007. So went from 58 million to 1.06 billion.
Wow.
So about a billion more.
About a billion more.
If you want to round up. Income in 2007, median U.S. household income, October 7th, 2000 level was $54,623. That is down 7 years later, even with inflation, to $51,584. So it's down about 5.5%. That's not good. Housing starts, that would be an easy one. I'm guessing there's less housing today. New construction starts. About 890,000 today, 1,000,003 in 07. So quite a few more.
1,000,003?
Housing starts in 2007, yeah.
And how many right now?
890. This is the one that I was trying to get to. U6, which is they call the broadest measure of unemployment. So today, this is everybody what I was talking about earlier, which is I'd like to work more, I quit looking, I'm looking but I can't find anything, 14.4%. So that's what I call the true unemployment or underemployment. Now if you look in the paper today, it says 7.7. 14.4 is probably the actual true number of people that are out looking for jobs or looking for more employment. By comparison, October 2007, the last peak of the Dow, 8.4%. Now, 8.4% is probably near, by all intents and purposes, probably near full employment.
Normal.
I mean, you're getting to the point there where, like 5% of them really aren't looking. They just don't want to admit it that they're lazy. So you're getting you're clipping along pretty good there at 8.4% total of everybody of unemployment. Tuition costs today $8,600 for a 4-year public school, $6,500 in 07. What else is in here that's interesting? This one is interesting. So the price earnings ratio of a stock. So the price you pay for the stock versus what the company earns in October of 07 was about 15.7%. So the price is 15.7 times their earnings. Today that's down to 13.7. So companies making more money, or the price is down compared to what they're making now. So that's pretty good. So here you go. Interest rates. So the interest rate, current annual rate on a 12-month $25,000 CD today is 0.31%. Basically nothing.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Just leave us your money here and we'll call you when we want you to pick it up. What do you think it was in 07?
5.2.
Not quite as high. 4.04%. So the CD was actually making a little bit of money there too. So rates are down. So that's some good comparisons of the last high versus today. And we shall see. Let me know. Maybe shoot me a quick text at 441140 or give me a call 339-1140. Are you now a buyer or a seller, or are you sitting still, or are you still outside the market? Where are you? If you're doing a 401k or an IRA, then they're taking out of your check. They're investing it for you. I guess you probably could put it. You probably have a cash option. You probably could just take your money out and just leave it in cash. I would imagine that's one of your options. I'm sure it is. So where are you today? 339-1140 or give me a text 441140. What are you doing? Are you sitting on the sidelines still? Is this going to come to a crash? Are you finally investing, or have you been kind of just plugging away a little bit as you go along? And we will pick some of those out and give them some ski passes today. We got some more Sierra Tahoe passes to give away. Hour number 2 of 2 is coming up. We're going to finish up our 12 debt myths, the things that trip up consumers. We'll get through number 8 through 12. A lot of real estate, a lot of finance stuff we'll talk about. Sacramento, number 1 in the country for something. Not sure what that means. And we have our author coming up. So you have a goal. Now what? 9 proven steps to get you there to your goals manual. He'll be tuning in at about 10:30. My name's Jeff Tarbell. That's John Fotorero. This is Talkin' Money, and we're going to be
right back.
Jack.
Talkin' Money.
Yeah, I get it, you're an outcast. Always under attack, always coming in last. Bringing up the past, no one owes you anything. I think you need a shotgun blast, a kick in the ass. So paranoid, watch your back.
Let's get back to action with Talkin' Money and your host, Jeff Tarbell.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Hello. I realize when I'm playing with the headphone microphone that you're not hearing my voice go up and down. It's just in my own ears. This is why I either need more donuts or less crack. One of the two. There we go.
Aren't they the same?
Huh?
Aren't they kind of the same?
They are. Donuts are crack for me. A crack habit would be easier to get off of than the
Donuts, cheese.
Crack might be healthier.
Yeah, the crack is probably healthy. You don't put on the weight, that's for sure. So,
So I hear.
As soon as my teeth grow back in, I'll be fine. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. I don't know where we're going. We got a couple people on hold, so let's get to that. And I threw out the question before the break, and by the way, welcome. We start at 9. We expect you here on time, please. And if you want to text us, 441140, I threw out the question before the break. Stock market from this week back to the high point from October of 07. And where are you on that scale of I'm all in, I'm still on the sidelines, I'm got my toe in the water, where are you on that scale? Because there's all the above. We'll read some of our texts here in just a minute, too. But let's get to Jenny. Jenny in Folsom has been patiently holding. Jenny, how you doing? Welcome to Talkin' Money.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's happening?
Well, we're in the middle of a couple of one real estate deal and wondering about inventory on another. As we speak, we're in escrow in a condominium that I bought about 6.5 years ago, and I bought it for $315, and it's selling for $265. So there's a loss on that, but it's been rented out for the last 6 years to the same people, and they're buying it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which is good.
Yeah.
So I've had a negative cash flow for all this time on it, and so I lose money on the deal, but I guess that's just the name of real estate, right?
Yeah, well, you probably can catch all that stuff up now on your taxes when you do the sale, so maybe if you haven't been taking the loss annually, you can run all that together and maybe offset that some other losses. But that wasn't your question, so you're looking now for something else, huh?
Well, yeah. Well, and then we have a home in Folsom, and that we'll probably hang on to. But we're looking for another place, and have been for probably 2 or 3 years. But it just seems inventory is so low. We don't really want to go to El Dorado County and pay PG&E. I spent 20 years of my life there and was very cold in the winter. So just kind of wondering, what to do, and when's it going to turn around in terms of inventory, and are banks holding on to homes?
Well, so in this new place you're looking for, you want to be a new primary residence for you, or you're looking for another investment property?
A new primary.
New primary, okay.
Then to use the Folsom home as a rental.
Okay.
And,
so you don't have to sell that first, which is good. That'll make it easier for you. Yeah. So you're coming right in. If you listened before the break there, I said Sacramento is now number 1 in the country.
Yeah.
Sacramento was number 1 in the country for basically nothing to buy.
I know.
The Zillow down 48% from a year ago from available properties on the market. So this is the problem or the challenge, Jenny, and I can tell you that there's a big black file cabinet behind my desk that's got all pre-approved buyers in it, and the file cabinet keeps growing because there are people that are shopping and shopping and shopping, and this is the challenge. You're in a fortunate position. A, you already have a house, and B, you don't have to sell it in order to get the next one, it doesn't sound like. So you can be pickier and you can be more patient, but it sounds like you have been, than a lot of these first-time buyers that are dying to get out of their rental and get into something else. Now, I will say this. I had 4 clients get their contracts accepted last weekend alone. So I came in on Monday. That's the single busiest weekend for my client base that I've had probably in years. And so I think it is a signal that some things are freeing up. Now, what price range are you looking in? Where do you kind of want to be?
Anything between $275 and $450.
Okay, the sweet spot.
And we went to one open house a few weeks ago in Orangevale, a house on 2 acres. And seriously, if they would have had clowns and popcorn, it would have been a circus.
Yeah.
There were that many potential buyers there.
Yeah. So where you and I don't know the details of your situation, and you don't have to tell us if you don't want to, but where you can stand out of the group is obviously there's going to be a lot of people making offers. So obviously, the more you can put down, the better.
Okay.
Conventional financing is better. A shorter escrow period is better.
Okay.
So if you have, and this goes for all of the Jennies and the Johns out there, and anybody else who's looking for shop, if you have your application in with somebody, you're pre-approved. They've got your taxes. They've got basically 90% of what they need, and you go in and say, hey, look, I'll cut my escrow period down from 30 days to 21, which not every lender can do. Certainly, our company that specializes in purchases, we try to make sure we can close fast, but that is not possible all the time. But anyway, the shorter period of time you can offer, the more money down, the more conventional, the less, the cleaner you look, the better shot you're going to have, at being able to pull that off. And then here's the downside: you're probably going to have to pay more than they're asking.
Well, and a lot more.
Yeah. And so here's where some buyers does
it appraise at that much?
Well, that's what I was getting to, is that so an FHA buyer comes in and Jenny walks in the door, and let's use John as our FHA buyer. John walks in and he's got his 3.5% down, and the house doesn't appraise because he's offered more to get the deal, and the house doesn't appraise. So now we come back to John and we say, okay, John, you offered $300, house appraised at $275. I'm guessing you don't have $25,000 extra to put down. And so John has to walk. Now, Jenny, you might be able to come in with, more money down, or you have some flexibility. Instead of putting down 20%, you're putting actually 10% down because that part that's above the appraisal doesn't count. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but if the house appraises for $275, that's the value from the lending perspective. And so even if you're paying $300, that $25,000 you got to come out of pocket for.
Right.
So, but if you were going to put,
everybody can do that.
Right.
Or 25 or 45.
Right. So obviously the more you can save and get together, the easier it makes it. But it is very difficult, and I don't think banks are holding on to properties. I get asked that all the time. If how many houses the bank's sitting on, they're not. They have learned. There may be some old inventory. They have learned that a short sale is a much more profitable venture for a bank than a foreclosure. Okay. So these are going to short sale much more routinely now. So a short sale means the house never makes it to foreclosure or never makes it to the bank's ownership.
Right.
So it is. That is, and you're right. You are. If you were buying, well, I've heard it now. I've got clients that are buying it at the $1 million mark and at the 150 mark, and they're all experiencing the same thing. So it is. You got to be patient, and you got to find exactly what you want, but you got to be ultra aggressive when you find what you want. And I appreciate. Go ahead.
Not just the cash buyers that are getting the home?
No, it is not just the cash buyers that are getting it, and I'm seeing less and less of that now. And you start getting above 300, the cash buyers start dropping off quickly because those properties don't necessarily. Those aren't maybe the best rentals for them. That 150 to 2.25, they're all over those things. But you start getting above, 3 and above, you start losing the cash buyers a little more. Jenny, I'm going to put you on hold, and we're going to give Jenny some ski passes if she wants those. Let's get to Jeff. Hey, Jeff, welcome to Talkin' Money. How you doing?
I'm great.
What's happening?
I was in the same circle or the circus that the other car was in, offer after offer after offer, no luck. And then I just went straight to the listing agent, and I finally got one. And they made both sides of the commission. Both sides of the deal. And so you think that was enough incentive for the listing agent to be able to accept or talk the seller into accepting your offer? Well, it was on a short sale. I got to the front of the line, and they said, okay, here's our best offer. What do you want to do? Okay. Okay. So it worked for me. Maybe it could work for them. Yeah, that's a good point, Jeff. I appreciate that. I'll put you back on hold. We'll give, if Jeff wants some passes there too. Hopefully, the listing agent is looking at the best offer for the seller and not the best offer for them. And I believe that's probably normally true. But I think what Jeff was saying was, hey, I got some good information, or I happen to be standing at the right spot at the right time, and they said, this is what the bank's willing to accept. And Jeff said, yeah. Right. Man. There you go, and that's what happens. So, what are you seeing out there? Well, I was just thinking I'd like to hear some people talking about inventory. We're asking what's going to happen. I still think the banks really aren't holding that much. I think the foreclosure processes are going, the short sale processes are going. People still, there's not enough, and the builders are feeling the same thing. If you own a current house and you want to you're going to resell your home. You're not quite there yet. There's not quite enough equity position to sell. Yep. So I'm not going to put it on the market yet. I'm going to wait a little bit. The builders are building, but they're not building enough because there's not enough equity position to sell for them. So and I think we're going to have this for the next year or two. Stan Humphreys, Zillow's chief economist, said the supply of for sale
listings continues to dry up, driven in part by potential sellers trapped in negative equity and homeowners that won't sell out of fear they won't be able to find another house.
There you go.
And so we have we're starting to see a little bit less of the negative equity stuff because there's not much on the market. Prices, clip, coming up a little bit. Finally getting like Jenny there, where she's lost some money on the transaction, but the prices come up enough. She said, okay, I'm willing to make that deal go. A lot of break-even sellers now, which is, for those people, are considered a bonus. They can go buy something else. I think the biggest trouble is, I know a bunch of people would love to move. Jenny would probably sell her house in Folsom, and if she found she had the exact right property somewhere else, but she's not selling that house because she knows that the minute she's on the street and there's nothing else to buy. That's the hardest part. That's what's killing us right now, is we're not getting enough, new opportunities for the move-ups or the move-downs. They're just afraid, man, if I let go of this house, what am I going to do? So, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's a very tight circle. And Sacramento, number one on Zillow's list for basically inventory slide. There's just the least amount of inventory year over year from last year. So there's 48% less homes than a year ago, and a year ago we were griping about not being enough homes. So that does make it a challenge, to say at least. Let me see who else was on their list here. 10 cities that saw the largest year-over-year declines in home sales February of 12 to February 13. Sacramento, L.A., San Francisco, San Diego. You can start to see a trend here. These all sound like familiar cities to me. Minneapolis, Riverside, Kansas City, Atlanta, Denver, and Vegas. The United States average is minus 16%, and we're at 48. So that's less homes on the market than there were last year. So
that explains it.
That explains a lot. So when you go into your sales meeting and their companies are saying, get out and get more purchases, you say, I am a-trying.
I am a-trying.
You manufacture a house for me. I will try to get something for you. So interesting news there. Chris, you want to take a break before? Yeah, you want to do that? Okay. You got a quiz question there for us, John A?
I do. For all you folks that maybe can't wake up when the show starts at 9. Wrigley's. Everybody knows Wrigley.
The baseball field?
Wrigley.
Oh, Wrigley.
Wrigley, not Wrigley's.
Okay, like the gum people?
Yeah, the gum people.
Yeah, what about them?
What is their new product? What is their new product that they are selling quite a bit of?
Their latest, greatest offering, huh?
Yes, their latest, greatest offering from Wrigley.
Okay. We got a couple people on hold. I promise I'll get right to you when we come back. So just give me just a minute here, and I'll get right back to you. A couple lines open at 339-1140 if you want to jump in. Our text question is still hanging out there. We're getting some answers to that at 44-1140. Are you in the market? I'm talking about the financial market now. Are you in the market all the way? You're tiptoeing in. You're sitting on the side in cash. This market's a sham. Where are you on that scale at 44-1140? We'll pick some people off there and give them some ski passes too. I'm John Fodderero. That's Jeff Tarbell, and we're going to be
right back.
Talkin' money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
All right. We are back. Everybody's waking up today, so the phones are going crazy there. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us if you want at 44-1140. Did we get a quiz winner there, Chris? Yeah? Doug got the answer. So the Wrigley chewing gum people are coming out with something. What's their latest, greatest product? Is that what you're trying to you're trying to ask me?
That's the question.
Okay.
And let me just tell you this.
Yeah.
It has 40 milligrams per piece of caffeine.
I don't know what that means. Is that a lot? Or?
Well, what that means is Coca-Cola, 12-ounce Coca-Cola has 35 milligrams of caffeine. This one piece of Alert Energy caffeine gum has 40 milligrams, more than a Coke.
Wow. So in one piece.
In one piece.
I got a whole mouthful of that in crack.
Just man up and have a coffee.
I don't like coffee. I like the smell of coffee. I wish I drank coffee. I just don't like the taste of coffee.
U.S. sales of energy-boosting food and beverages have grown 43% since 2008 to $9.9 billion last year.
Boing. So caffeinated gum was our correct answer.
That is correct.
Very good, very good. And we had a little text question, which we will hang out there a little bit to it. You can jump in at 441140 if you would like. And the question is where are you on the scale of things with all these booming stock markets? Are you someone who's still sitting on the sidelines, or have you been jumped in forever? Or where are you on the scale of believability that this is something you should be invested in or not? And had a couple people, one from the 916, I'm leaving all my money where it is and hopefully it keeps growing. That is probably the consensus of most people. Most people are busy. I mean, let's be frankly honest about it. You're putting your money, your comes out of your 401k or your IRA or whatever, goes into out of your check and goes into your account. You pre-selected something whenever the hell they opened up the last selection thing, and you went back to work, to working, and as long as
as long as the statements come out positive, you open
up the statement quarterly, and like last quarter it was 11,000, and this quarter it was 12,200, and you're like, awesome. I mean, and that is the sum total of about how 90% of it works, and because the rest of the thing, I got kids to feed and soccer games to get to and life, dude. I'm not gonna sit around and watch And there are other people that from the 916, all my money is in cash and gold. Anybody in the stock market is a fool and a tool of Wall Street manipulators. The market is fixed. So you got the wag the dog guy from 916. And I don't know if I could find a total argument against any of that either. There's probably an argument somewhere between the two, between leaving all my money in and pulling all my money out and burying it in the ground. There's probably a little bit of both might be prudent, but what do I know? I'm on the radio. If I knew anything, I'd actually have a real job and would be sleeping in on Saturdays. That would be where I'd be at. So from the 916, let's see here. My wife and I were under $100,000 a few years back. We decided to pay off the house in 10 years versus 20. We'll stay in the home or rent when the house is paid off. Is that a good idea? We also refinanced at a lower rate. Paying off your house sooner and faster and owning it free and clear is, in my opinion, always a good idea. Unless you're in the mortgage business and we need people to do loans. But, there's...
And obviously that depends on your financial situation, your cash flow situation, your close to retirement, not close to retirement.
Well, clearly he had the dough because if you can afford to pay it off in a 10-year clip, you're basically paying principal and interest, principal only at that point for the most part. So, yeah. And this has been the last 2 years of people going from 30 to 15-year fixed and expediting payments. And again, we talked about earlier today, it wasn't just the young kids that are going to be burned in their memory about what happened, and hopefully that affects them, but everybody else is looking around and saying, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to have a lot of debt if I can afford it. And
well, as we're talking about it too, I have to mention this because it kind of irks me sometimes, but if you go on to some of these news channels, news stations, websites, when the stock market is going up, everything is good. You should not believe the commercial that says interest rates are now at their all-time lowest for mortgages.
Yeah.
That is not true.
Those don't go hand in hand.
They don't go hand in hand. Stock market goes up. That means people are coming out of safe haven bonds. People not as much in the bond market. That makes interest rates go up higher.
Yep. Yeah, so we saw 30-year fix this week right around 4, pretty much consistently at 4%. In some cases, without paying a bunch, and it varies depending on what you're doing and credit score and other things too. But I mean, that's from 3.25, at the end of last year. So we're up, up three quarters of a point, and which we have to do.
Right.
I mean, it has to go up as things improve. But
right, and on the opposite side of that, so your stock portfolio is going up, your 401k is going up, your housing price, or your shoulders are a little lighter because there's some equity in your house maybe now. So there's this offset of, what are current interest rates, and then, where are you gaining?
So our question earlier from Jenny was, how come I can't find any houses to buy? This was very, very telling. This is out of the Friday, March 8th, what they call the Mansion Report in the Wall Street Journal. It talks about housing and different things. Staying put, the average number of days payments were delinquent at the time of foreclosure. Okay? So so obviously it didn't go to short sale. This is how many days since their last payment was made before the foreclosure occurred. And they broke it out into two categories: a loan amount under $1 million and a loan amount or a balance over $1 million. Okay, so for example, in California, if you on average, we had a normal home loan under $1 million balance. It took 651 days to foreclose on you. So 365, so that's a little less than 2 years. If your house was over $1 million balance, it took 940 days. So that's 2.5 years. So you're living in a house for 2.5 years, not making payments on a jumbo $1 million mortgage. In New York, 1,737 days to foreclose on somebody on an over $1 million property.
Wow.
I mean, you're in there 5 years. 5 years. Well, hell, why not just take the loan out, make one payment, stop paying, and I'll live there for 5 years. So I'll lose my down payment. 5 years worth of payments on a $1 million+ mortgage, I came out ahead. I mean, this is the challenge. Now, you have to remember that within this period of time of this survey, the federal government came in and said, you will modify these people. And modify, I use with a little quotations, fingers above my head, because they weren't modifying anybody. And those of you that went through that process could get into a whole hour on this show next hour if you wanted to, about how you were screwed over because they told you they're going to modify it, and all they did was add the interest to the back of your payment, and they didn't modify squat. And now you're still stuck worse than you were before. Anyway,
your credit report's all screwed up.
Yeah, that was the modification they sent to you. If you need more modification, we don't need any. Who needs an enemy when you got a loan mod? So that was all in this time frame, though. So this is kind of an unusual period of time. But the average time on here, I mean, Arizona's the quickest. And remember, California is a non-judicial state. You don't have to go to court. And that's probably what happened in New York. I'm not sure. New York's probably you have to go through a court proceeding, but California, almost 2 years and over 2 years, almost 2.5 years for a jumbo loan to get a house into foreclosure. That's a problem. I mean, that's a problem. That's just too long. So that's part of the issue there. I bet when you look at the next 36 months going forward, those numbers will be dramatically down because the short sales will have wiped out a lot of those, and the banks just aren't screwing around as much anymore, and they don't need to.
Right. Well, it took them a little bit of time to figure it out.
Now that they know the market is where it is, they don't have to do that. They can get their money out of it, and I think in the past they were afraid to take your house back and put it on the market because they would just further push his values down, and it just they hurt themselves. But are you kidding me? 1,700 days in a house on $1 million+ mortgage? You just live there? I mean, you're making money at that deal. So anyway, we'll talk about that some more. We do. I do want to take another break here for just a quick break. We got our book author is on hold, so we will get to him after the break, and we can take your calls and questions as well. Maybe we can even, if you're interested in the book, we can even get some names. We'll have him send a couple samples out to you if you want to do that as well. So 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140 if you wish. You want to do the question, or you want to just go to the...
Yeah, let's do a quick one. So Lamborghini.
Oh, I got a couple of them.
Veneno.
Oh,
it's a new vehicle they came out with.
I got the Matchbox version.
How many did they produce, and what's the price?
Lamborghini. How do you spell the model?
Veneno, which means poison in Spanish because this...
It poisons your bank account.
Yes.
So the Lamborghini Veneno, how many? What's the total production run? And chip in on the price there if you want to. We'll give you a pair of passes. That's a good one for 2 passes. Sierra Tahoe. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. Hang on, we got our book author. We'll be right back.
Talkin' Money!
And we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Right. Final. Are we taking another break for the end of the show, Chris? Are we going? Yeah, we are. Okay. So we'll get our author in here. So my steady-handed assistant there, Melanie Hernandez, is my booking agent. Also, she's my bookie. Also, if I had to place any kind of obscure bets on things like that, I send her out there to do that. So Melanie handles all of our booking on the show, and occasionally we'll get some people who know more than we do. Actually, it's very easy to get people who know more than we do. We get some authors that want to come on and talk about what they're doing. So Johnny's going to run with it there, and go ahead.
Yeah. We have Jolyon Hallows, who is the author of So You Have a Goal, Now What?
Jolyon, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, how's now? You're calling in from you're up north in the Great White North, I think, huh?
I am. I'm in Vancouver.
Oh, okay. Now give it.
It's white here, but it's still north.
You're not getting any snow in Vancouver?
No, we're kind of like Seattle. We don't get a lot of snow.
Okay, you're down in the city. John and I are big fans of the Whistler Blackcomb area, so we've been up there a few times. It's nice up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, John. We've been working through your book a little bit. And
yeah.
Go ahead.
Jolyon, why did you write this book?
Well, I wrote this book because of a newspaper article I read a while back that really frustrated me and depressed me. The article was about this tough economy and how so many people who've lost their jobs are looking to start their own businesses. And I think that's great. I mean, the country's economy is built on small businesses. But the article went on to point out that over half of small businesses fail in the first few years, more than 50%. That works out to over 500,000 failures a year. And I have to ask why. Now, I can tell you it's not because small business people are stupid or lazy. These are some of the sharpest, hardest working people you'll ever meet. So why are the chances of a small business succeeding no better than the odds at the craps table of the local casino? In fact, worse, because at the casino you'll just lose some entertainment cash. A failing business can bankrupt you. And what frustrated me with the story is that I've learned that it doesn't have to be this way. So many small businesses don't have to fail.
Yeah, that's interesting. What do you mean so many businesses don't have to fail? What do you mean by that?
Starting a new business is a project. In fact, it's like a lot of projects that big businesses carry out all the time. And big businesses, some of their projects fail, but most of them succeed. So how do they do it? How do they succeed? Well, when a big business has a project, say it wants to open a new office or enter a new market, I can tell you that they don't scramble around trying to figure out what to do. They don't get swamped by the details, and they don't fold at the first big problem that hits them. Big businesses hand the project over to a specialist to make it happen. These specialists are called, get ready to yawn, project managers. Now, I know that sounds pretty boring. No kid ever said, when I grow up, I want to be a project manager. But a project manager is someone whose job is to achieve goals. A business says, this is our goal, make it happen. And it's a project manager's job to do that, kind of like Jean-Luc Picard in the Starship Enterprise says, make it so. Well, does that mean that a small business person should hire a project manager to get going? Well, it wouldn't hurt, but it's also expensive.
Right, probably can't afford it.
Yeah, so I've written this manual to help small business people use the same techniques that project managers use to succeed in large companies.
Jolyon, so tell me, what are your qualifications that you have background and to write this book so you have a goal?
Yeah, sure. Well, I am a project manager. In 30 years, I've managed over a couple of hundred projects. I've written 3 books for project managers. I'm on the faculty of a university diploma program, and I've personally trained over 1,000 project managers worldwide. So I know how to get things done. And I've reduced what I know down into just 9 steps and put them into a manual called, as you said, So You Have a Goal. Now what? It takes the steps that project managers use, the ones that I teach, and simplified them so that anyone can follow them for their own personal goals, such as starting that new business or expanding an existing one.
So as we all know, there's a ton of books out there on goals, and you feel we need another one.
Well, there's lots of books on goals, but most of them are written by what I call the success gurus. These guys talk about setting massive goals or how you can get anything you want, but it's all daydreaming. There's no nitty-gritty, nothing about how to set the right goal, nothing about how to tame all of the details and the problems, nothing about how to build a day-by-day plan, and absolutely nothing about how to follow the plan. That's the gaping hole that my manual fills. And by the way, I call it a manual instead of a book because that's how I intended. It's not hype. It's a solid set of proven steps for people who are serious about starting or expanding a business.
So we have some steps to do it. So how does that differ? How do big companies achieve their goals?
Well, there's a system. It's a system that's evolved over decades. It's from the military, large companies, university research programs, and professional institutions all around the world. It's the same system that hundreds of thousands of project managers use every day. It's the same system that I've taught, over 1,000 of them. Now, I didn't create this. It's not something I invented, gave some neat-sounding acronym and wrote a book about. It's a proven system. It works, and I've been able to simplify it and distill it down into just 9 steps that anyone can follow.
Just 9, huh? That's it? Not 10? Not 8?
9 steps.
Okay, well, what are they?
I tried to make it 7, but because someone told me that 7 was the magic number, but I couldn't squeeze it in.
Okay. So what are the 9 steps?
Let me give you the flavor. When most people start to plan a goal, they usually make 2 massive mistakes. The first mistake is to try to figure out all the tasks they'll have to do. So I want to open up a retail store, so I've got to get a name, I've got to find space, I've got to get inventory, and so on. So they try to figure out what's the work that they have to do. Now, that's important. You have to do it, but not at the start. In the 9 steps, that's not step 1 or even step 2. It's step 5, way along in the process. Before you can figure out the tasks, you have to give the goal a solid foundation. Is it a real goal, or is it a fantasy? Is it the right goal? Will it get you what you want? Are you absolutely clear on the goal and all of the massive details? Have you spotted all of the lurking problems and figured out how to handle them in advance? In the first 4 steps, I teach you how to do all of this. Now, once the goal's on a solid footing, only then do you figure out what the tasks are. And this is where most people make their second mistake. They try to brainstorm. Now, to me, brainstorm is a 4-letter word because you're going to overlook things. So I teach a technique that we use all the time to figure out what all the tasks are and to make sure you haven't missed any. Then you put the tasks in sequence so that you know what you have to do first, what comes next, and so on to the end. Then you create a day-by-day schedule. So you wake up in the morning, you yawn, scratch yourself, look at your schedule, and know exactly what you have to do that day.
I got that task figured out.
Good.
I'm a phenomenal scratcher.
Yeah. Then you prepare a budget and cash flow, and with that, you're now ready for the final step, which is actually carrying out the plan. This is where I teach you how to track progress, how to make decisions, handle problems and opportunities. That's the process that the 9 steps deals with.
So I'm thinking about this. I'm going, okay, no brainstorming, only scratching.
And usually brainstorming is where everybody thinks that's where all the good ideas come from. Is, we sat down, we brainstormed this all weekend. And
right. So what kind of time, I mean, does this take a week, a month, a year? I mean, what kind of process to break down these steps?
Well, that's a good question. Of course, the last step, which is actually following the plan, will depend upon the plan itself. That can be anything from a few weeks to a year. But how long would it take someone to create the plan? Now, just as an example, I used the 9 steps to develop the manual. There's an audio program, webinars, and a weekend intensive. The project took me several months, but the planning took me less than a day. Now, of course, I know the steps, and I'm an experienced project manager, so I should be efficient. But if it takes someone else an entire week, is that too long to build a solid plan to reach a worthwhile goal? I sure hope not.
So you're saying, I follow you there. So are these goals only for starting a business or new business, or how can you use these goals? Oh
no, they actually apply to any goal that has a large number of complex activities that need to be coordinated, which starting or expanding a business certainly does. But they can also be used for things like putting on a family reunion or planning a wedding or the vacation of a lifetime or remodeling a kitchen or building a patio. The 9 steps apply to all of these goals, anywhere where you have a bunch of things that have to be coordinated.
So Jolyn, we have a lot of business owners, small business people here, contractors listening in, and I always wonder, is there any key? What are the common mistakes people make when they try and start a business?
You hit the nail on the head. I'd say there are 2 major mistakes. The first is when people jump in and start to build a business without asking some key questions. Like, you get carried away with your enthusiasm. I know, I've been there. I just want to get going. This is such a great idea. I want to push it through and charge ahead. But you need to ask some questions such as, is this the right business for me? Have I got the money, the materials, the knowledge to do it? Am I getting carried away by my enthusiasm? Have I run my business plan by professionals to get their feedback? Do I even have a business plan? In other words, many people get a bright idea and run with it without taking the effort to put their business on a solid footing.
Absolutely.
Well, most people that I know who start a business are someone who's very good at doing something, a good salesperson.
Absolutely.
And the mortgage business is a perfect example of that. Just I'm very good. A person who's very good in the mortgage business doesn't make them a good business person. It means they're good at the task of doing mortgages, but they're not a good day-to-day operational business person. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see in our industry is people that aren't business people. They're phenomenal salespeople or something at their task. So there's a big difference between the two.
You're absolutely right. Running a business has its own set of skills, and one of the biggest problems that people face is it's not difficult to learn these skills to run them, but you have to get the business on a solid footing. The problem is that the people when they start a new business, they get swamped. They get swamped by the details. They don't know how to handle them. And let me give you an example. Say you want to start a coffee service, providing coffee to local offices. Okay. it occurs to you that you could offer packaged snacks like chocolate bars, or bags of chips. Should you do it? Should you include that in your service? How do you decide? How do you figure out how to handle this and all of the hundreds of other details without just flipping a coin? And people get swamped by this thing. And that's one of the things that the 9 steps, actually step 3, deals with. And, I know it's accelerating, it's tempting to charge ahead, but you need to take the time to put your business on a sound footing. And if your business is on a sound footing, then if you're a great salesperson and you need someone else to come in and help you run the business, they've got something to run,
right,
instead of just something that you...
Well, yeah, and the exciting part is always charging ahead, not doing these detailed pieces.
It's called ready, fire, aim.
Right.
And keep shooting.
Yep.
Yeah, so you talked a little bit about, having all these books out there, a bunch of success gurus writing these books. Well, what do you really mean by that?
Well, check out the self-help section of any bookstore, and you'll find shelves of books about achieving massive dreams and reaching your true potential. Check out any major hotel on a weekend, and you'll probably see at least one seminar on getting whatever it is you want. Watch daytime TV shows. The success gurus sell books, seminars, audio programs, coaching, and a whole range of self-help products about setting huge goals. Now, a few years back, when I realized that I'm a project manager and that I'm really a professional goal achiever. So I thought, these people are all about goals. What can they teach me to make me better at this? So I read the books. I went to the seminars, listened to the audio programs, and, hey, I had a lot of fun because they're very entertaining. But what did I learn from them about achieving goals? Nothing. The problem is that most of the advice they sell doesn't work when you actually try to achieve a goal, and some of it's even harmful.
So I got a success guru out there.
You're harmful when you walk across the coals that are on fire and you burn your feet. That was
Well, I mean, that's okay.
This is a different seminar, I think.
Different seminar, yeah.
So we got just a couple minutes, John. We got to wrap it up, and what we'll do if you want a copy of Jolene's book, you can email me, Jeff@JeffTarbell.com, and we'll forward your information to him, and he can forward it. We'll give a couple of them away if he's all right with that, and we'll get the information. So Jeff@JeffTarbell.com if you'd like a copy of the book. So You Have a Goal, Now What? Go ahead, John.
So what's another way our listeners can find out more about your book, about your process, and what you do?
They can go to my website, www.soyouhaveagoal.com. That's SOYOU haveagoal.com. The manual is 123 pages. It's just $9.95, and it's downloadable. Or for your listeners who don't want to print 123 pages, I have the collector's edition available, which is a printed book that I'll mail for $14.95. The 9 steps use a set of worksheets that are available for free at the website, along with a free guide to using them.
So tell us that website again.
It's www.soyouhaveagoal.com.
All right, very good. So, and I don't care what level of business you want to start. I think that Joan's right there. What was your term? Ready, shoot, aim, or it's
ready, aim,
ready, aim, fire.
Yeah. So, and that's typical for a lot of the salespeople that are very good at what they do. They're go-getters. They just blast out of the chutes and they figure out how to do the rest of the stuff behind the scenes.
I've been there, yeah.
Yeah, and particularly, I guess it doesn't matter what world you're in. In our world of finance and stuff, the regulations and the rules and the compliance and all the things, all the parts of running a business which are no fun. I mean, absolutely just zero fun. You ought to know what those are.
Yep.
I mean, you ought to know what the behind the scenes issues are. So I think it's important to go out recognize your skills. I am not a good runner of a business. I don't like it. But I enjoy being in business and I enjoy doing the sales part of it. I can't stand the day-to-day type of stuff. So recognize what you're good at, appreciate it, and go hire somebody. There are people out there, believe it or not, that love compliance and love to follow the rules and keep you in business and out of trouble.
They're good at it, and they will. You're right. They'll help you. They'll help you make a go of it.
Yeah.
And they'll let you focus on what you really enjoy doing.
Yeah, because where's the money made? The money's made, usually on the stuff you're good at, the sales part of it, and for you to be spending time doing $20 an hour work when you should be spending time doing $2,000 an hour work or whatever it is you make, then it's a waste of your time and your effort too. So I appreciate that very much. I appreciate your time today, and if you didn't catch, it's soyouhaveagoal.com, or you can email me, Jeff@JeffTarbell.com. Appreciate your time very much, and enjoy the rest of your day in Vancouver, and we appreciate your time, Jolene.
And have a great time down in Sacramento.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So
Interesting.
I've got a copy of his book here too, and his book is very basic, very easy to read, but I like
it's a manual.
It is a manual. So if you and I'm the worst at it. I mean, it's like you're going to get from point A to point B. I'll just start driving. Like most of us will. But
you're going to drive your Lamborghini Veneno?
Oh yeah. How much is that going to cost me before I may have to get a different business plan if I need to get one of these.
So apparently there's 4 versions of this vehicle. 4.
So like that's the total run?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
And they cost about $4 million a piece.
Oh.
4 cars, $4 million, and basically it makes the Batmobile look like nothing.
Yeah, that thing is pretty. It looks like it was like
carbon fiber, all tricked out. Apparently, if you put all 4 of these vehicles together, if they ever come back together again, because 1 is going to go to the Lamborghini Museum.
Okay.
2 were sold here in the United States. And the other one I'm not sure about. But if you put all 4 of them together, somehow they
become a robot.
They become some sort of Italian flag.
What?
Yeah, because of the carbon fiber. They're all this gray color, and then they have different, little bit of different green, white, and red.
Different spots in them.
Different spots in them, and if they all come together, they'll look pretty cool.
That'd be a pretty cool reunion.
So here's the deal: you move to New York.
Yeah.
You buy a multi-million-dollar house.
Stop making payments.
Mm-hmm. You buy your Lamborghini. Everybody thinks you're.
Yeah, you're something.
You're something.
I don't need to have a goal. I got a house.
That's your goal, right there.
I got a house in default in a car I can't afford. I'm living the dream there. So I appreciate that very much. So how we doing on time there, Chris? We got to. I'm losing. Okay, we're doing good. We never got to the rest of our. Did we get our winner for that? By the way, oh yeah, we did. We got that handled there. I didn't get to the rest of our debt miss, so I'll continue that next week. I did note I thought this is kind of fascinating. So we're talking about housing and lack of housing and everything else too. There's an interesting survey out about who's buying all these homes and who are the makeup of the home buyer is. And you look at California. This is interesting. Nationwide, about 40% of all the homes that sell in this country are foreign buyers. So not born in the United States.
What was that percentage?
40% in the country.
Wow.
In California, over 80% of all the home buyers in California are foreigners. They are not people that were born in the United States or born in California. I'm assuming they're talking about people that they're born outside the United States, because I don't think they call someone from Texas maybe Texas is a foreigner. Them Seattle people are foreigners, that's for darn sure. So 80% of all home sales go to immigrants. And that is going to be probably trailing off a little bit in California, but a huge success, a huge percentage of our buyers in this country. So people want to shut down immigration or modify it. They don't modify housing. I mean, we have a declining inventory of little kids, a declining population. Their inventory, they have little barcodes on their forehead. little Kevin's .06.
Beep.
Yeah.
Beep.
So, but we got a declining growth rate, population rate. So immigrants are picking up the difference. 80% of all homes in California are sold to immigrants. I thought that was pretty fascinating. That music signals the time to get up and get out. Let somebody else in. So we'll catch you next week. If you're interested in a copy, I have one copy here with me of the 9 proven steps to get you there, so you have a goal. If you're starting a business, it can't hurt. Probably will help. And so you can email me, jeff@jefftarbell.com, if you want this copy or maybe one other. I'll get you one out. And that's it for this Saturday. Happy birthday to my daughter, Kelly Elizabeth Tarbell, who's turning 17 and taking her SAT class right now. I hope part of me wants her to do real well, and part of me hopes she ends up at junior college.
Easy, Dad. Easy, Dad.
So I can't afford the fiber carbon $4 million car anyway, but I sure won't get it. I have to send girls to school. So anyway, hey, we'll see you next week, everybody. Thank you, Johnny. We'll catch you on Facebook. Aloha. See ya.
Talking money.